Hey everybody, welcome to the Blogging Grill. I'm your host Doug here with your video blog for July 24th, 2013. Hanging out with you today, I got NFL two-a-days with the Jets and Falcons, your MLB power rankings. But first I want to get to the looming suspension that Alex Rodriguez could be facing. As we know, the other day Ryan Braun was suspended 65 games for the remainder of the year for his actions in the Biogenesis Clinic in Miami. And we're hearing now that there's much more evidence that Major League Baseball officials have on Alex Rodriguez. And right now they're trying to levy a lifetime ban against this player. We've heard numerous reports that he's trying to come up with a plea deal, maybe just take 150-game suspension. But that is all still up in the air. And the key, I think, here is the closeness of the relationship that A-Rod had with Anthony Bosch, the founder of the Biogenesis Clinic. There's reports that Bosch would go to his house, and that even one time Bosch was trying to inject him at his house, and he kept missing his vein, and A-Rod became enraged when blood was spewing everywhere and threw him out of his house. So there's a lot more evidence linking A-Rod to Tony Bosch and showing that they probably did this more often than he did with Braun, and that it was more gruesome and more of a daily occurrence. So how big do I think the suspension will be? I think they could try to levy a lifetime ban on Rodriguez, but I think it could just come down to him sitting out all of next season. I think he'll sit out next season and save the Yankees a bunch of money. The Yankees will not be able to get out of this contract, though. And I think that I think even Major League Baseball could say, all right, sit out the rest of this year and next year, which could be a little tough to do because Rodriguez could just appeal the rest of this year's suspension, play out the last couple months, and then start a suspension next year. Still a lot of stuff to be done. We should hear about it in the next couple of days, so just keep your ears peeled for anything about Alex Rodriguez. All right, NFL two-a-days. The New York Jets. We're going to get to the Jets right now. Last year, they finished 6-10. Really struggled to pass the ball. They're 30th in passing, but their defense was decent. They stopped the run, stopped the pass pretty well. So just a team that really struggled on the offensive side of the ball. Their draft, I'm going to give them an A- in their draft. I like the moves they made. They brought in cornerback D. Milliner. They got a big defensive tackle in Sheldon Richardson out of Missouri. Numerous offensive guards, and the quarterback of probably the future, Geno Smith. Key additions, I like the move to bring in the GM, John Izek. Also, they brought in a safety, DeJuan Landry, who I think could help their team with the absence of Darrelle Revis. Running back Chris Ivory to replace Sean Green. I think Ivory's younger, and he has a lot more of good, solid years under him for sure. And they brought in tight end Kellen Winslow Jr., and I think that's good because they need another guy similar to what they had in some of their former tight ends. Just really need to try and find a guy they can pass to, kind of like a Dustin Keller, more of a possession wide receiver. Key departures have to be offensive coordinator Tony Sparano, and the big linebackers Bart Scott and Calvin Pace, they released them. Cornerback Darrelle Revis was traded. They released quarterback Tim Tebow. So just a lot of players really getting out of there, kind of a fire sale in the offseason for this team. The main question I think that has to be asked is how long will it take for Geno Smith to be the starter? I think by week 17, Geno Smith will be the starter for sure. I think he will have played many games by then, but I don't know when he's going to really jump into that starting role. I mean, some people are saying maybe week 4. Others are saying he can win the job out of camp. I don't think he wins the job out of camp. I think they start with Sanchez. Sanchez will struggle, and then they'll turn to Geno Smith. Overall, I don't see this team improving very much, and I see their record actually dropping to 5-11 coming off a 6-10 season last year. All right, coming up in a little bit, we'll have the NFL two-a-day with the Atlanta Falcons. But now it's time for a look at the MLB power rankings. Coming in at number 5 on my list are the Oakland A's. After 2 and 3 week, I have them dropping one spot. 4th place, my loser of the week has to be the Pirates. Kind of struggling a little bit. They came off a couple big wins against the Nationals, but they dropped 3 spots with a 3-2 mark since the All-Star break. My winner of the week has to be the hottest team in baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays. 4-1 last week. They've won, I believe, 18 out of their last 21. They're jumped up 2 spots this week Right behind the Boston Red Sox at number 2. They were 3-2 this week, and they jumped up 1 spot. And the team that's been on top of the power rankings most of the season, the St. Louis Cardinals, are back on top at number 1. My team to watch has to be the LA Dodgers. They're up to 11th in my power rankings, and they're 5-0 since the All-Star break, and they are now the top team in the NL West. All right, my second NFL two-day is the Atlanta Falcons. Last year, 13-3. They lost in the NFC title game to the 49ers. I mean, I looked at some of their numbers, and they were not a great team besides the fact that they could pass the ball effectively. They played an easier schedule for sure, and I think that helped them out. Hold on real quick. And I think that really helped them out for sure. Their draft, I'm going to give them an A- in their draft. They got better at every defensive position and also got a steal of a tight end out of Stanford in the 4th round. Key additions, running back Steven Jackson and defensive end O.C. Umenyiora got younger, or not really got younger, but got more effective at these positions. Released running back Michael Turner, who had a bad season, and defensive end John Abraham, along with cornerback Dunta Robinson. Finally, the big question has to be, can Matt Ryan become a breakthrough elite player this year? I think it's really time for him. We saw him get to the title game last year. He struggled in the playoffs before that. I think he's got a breakthrough this year, have a big season. He's got good wide receivers in Roddy White, Julio Jones. They got Tony Gonzalez coming back, so I think they're going to be solid. I see them losing one more game just because the Saints are resurgent in the division. They'll split with the Saints, and they'll finish this year at 12-4. All right, coming up later on this week in the Block Friday, I have two-a-days with the Broncos and the Vikings, and we're going to continue with our State of program, and we're going to go inside access on the state of Greg Oden's basketball career as that's being rebuilt after many injuries. Just some interesting statistics and what I think will happen with this young man's career as we continue, as well as take your pick weekend style. Thanks for tuning in to the Blog and Grill. I'll be back later on this week. Tune on Twitter at YankeeBaller415. Check me out on jbsmooth84.com. Thanks for tuning in to the Blog and Grill. I will see you on Friday.